Now, coming to the next question, which is your question number 36 in old syllabus and question number 8 in the new syllabus. The question says, a city hospital has the following minimal day requirement for nurses. So, 6 periods are given to us, and for every day, what is the minimum number of nurses required at the hospital? That number has been given to us. So, how many hours are there in a day? 24 hours. 6 periods, right? So 24 divided by 6 is 4 hours. So every period is of 4 hours, right? Now, the question says that nurses report to the hospital at the beginning of each period. At the beginning of each period. And the nurses work for 8 consecutive hours. 8 consecutive hours means the first nurse which is reporting at 6 a.m. in the morning, that nurse is working for 8 hours. That means that nurse is going out at 2 p.m. Right? Now, the question further reads that the hospital wants to determine the minimal number of nurses to be employed so that there will be sufficient number of nurses available for each period. Formulate this as a linear programming question by setting up appropriate constraints and objective functions. So this question is a vague question. I mean, you cannot expect this kind of question in the examination, but in case you never know, like institute का कोई भरोसा नहीं है, so for that reason I am telling you one method to solve this. But yeah, this is a very vague question, and whatever solution I am providing you, this solution was provided to me from the class which I had taken. But still, the book answer and like the concept that we have studied in LPP doesn't work here in this question, right? So let's start with the solution. So let the minimum number of nurses to be appointed during each period, or we can say the minimum number of nurses reporting at the beginning of each period. Period 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 can be x1, x2, x3, x4, x5 and x6, right? So now what will be our objective function in this case? Our objective function is to minimize the number of nurses. And what are these? These are the number of nurses, right? So the objective function is minimize z, which is equal to x1 plus x2 plus x3 plus x4 plus x5 plus x6. This is the minimum number of nurses required for each period, right? Now, coming to the constraint function. So, what is the constraint here for us? The constraint is that whoever nurse is reporting at one point of time at the hospital, that nurse has to work for 8 consecutive hours. That means the nurse has to work for 2 consecutive periods, right? So let's start with the solution here in the constraint function. So that means the nurse which is reporting in the first period, right? What is the number of nurse in the first period? X1. That nurse will also continue for period 2, which means x1 plus x2 should be more than or equal to 7. It should be more than or equal to 7. Then coming to the second period, in period second, when the nurse is reporting at 10 a.m., the nurse has to stay till 6 p.m. That means 8 hours the nurse has to stay there. So the requirement of like x2 and x3 is how much? What is the maximum requirement in this case? 15, because in the third shift we need at least 15. Okay, so there is a small correction in the question. There is the number in the period 3. The minimum number of nurses required is 75. It is written in the question, but the answer is 15. That is a printing mistake, so you need to correct that. And so the nurse which is coming in period 2 will stay till the end of period 3. That means we need 15 nurses at least, right? So this will be x2 plus x3 more than or equal to 15. Now similarly, the nurse which is coming in the beginning of period 3, right, will have to stay there for x3 and x4 is more than or equal to 8, right? Similarly, x4 and x5 is more than equal to 20. x5, x6 more than equal to 6. Similarly, x6 plus x1 is more than or equal to 2. I am not very satisfied with the solution which is given in the book, because it totally contradicts with the concept that we have learned in linear programming. So I'm not going into the concept, into the much detail of the concept. So yes. What is the non-negative function? x1, x2, x3, x4, x5 and x6 all are non-negative decision variables, right? And this is a weird question. Okay. Now coming to the next question, which is your question number 37 in your old syllabus and question number 9 in your new syllabus. So this question says that a marketing manager wishes to allocate his annual advertising budget, annual, for 12 months, right, for the entire year. The annual advertising budget of 20,000 in two media vehicles A and B. So there are two media vehicles A and B. In between you have to allocate this 20,000 of advertising budget so that optimum audience can be reached, right? The unit cost of a message in media A is 1,000 and the unit cost of message in media B is 1,500. Media A is a monthly magazine, right? And not more than one insertion is desired in one issue. That means every month you have to give only one insertion in case of media A. At least 5 messages should appear in media B. The expected effective audience for unit messages in the media A is 40,000 and media B is 55,000. Expected effective audience means what is the reach of all these medias, right? Like how many, if you publish your advertisement in media A, that means 40,000 audience will be reached. And if you're producing in media B, that means 55,000 audience will be reached. Question says, develop a mathematical model, right? One more thing that you need to understand here is that you need to do it for the whole year. And in this case, what is the objective of the question? Objective of the question is to maximize the reach. Like whatever advertisement you are giving, the advertisement should reach maximum audience. So we have to maximize these two things, right? So the objective is to maximize the reach or maximize the number of effective audience. The objective function here will be max z equals to 40,000 x1 plus 55,000 x2. So what is the meaning of x1 and x2 here? So by this time I think everybody must have understood that x1 in this case is the annual number of insertions for media A, because ek baar mein it is reaching 40,000. By one insertion it is reaching 40,000. So if there are 10 number of insertions, then it will reach 4 lakhs, right? Similarly, x2 is the annual number of insertions for media B, right? Now, after the objective function, we are coming to the constraint function. So in this case, what is the constraint function? The first constraint function will be regarding the budget, okay? It will be regarding the budget. So what is the annual budget? It is 20,000 rupees, right? 20,000 rupees. So for one message in media A, it requires how much? Your 1,000 rupees. So 1,000 x1 plus 1,500 x2. x1 and x2 are number of insertions or number of messages, right? All these things should be in between 20,000, so less than or equal to 20,000 rupees. So this is your first constraint, which is regarding the budget, right? Now in this case, media A is a monthly magazine and not more than one insertion is desired in one issue. So you have to provide insertions for the entire year, one issue in 1 month, one insertion in 1 month. So 12 insertions in 12 months, right? So constraint on annual number of insertions in media A will be x1 is less than or equal to 12. That means, this means zyada se zyada you will be giving 12 insertions of media A, right? Zyada se zyada, maximum, at most, right? Now, the next thing is that it says that the annual number of insertions in media B, it says that at least 5 messages should appear in media B. So what will be this? It says at least. This is at most. And about media B, in case of media B, the word at least has been mentioned, right? Has been written. So x2 is more than or equal to 5. Why more than or equal to? Because at least 5 should be there. At most, it can be much more than that, right? Minimum 5 should be there. It can be more than 5 also, right? So, anything else is required? No. Only this much of constraint functions are there in the given question. Now, at the end, what is the non-negative function? Obviously, that x1, x2 are more than 0. They are non-negative decision variables. I hope this question is clear. In this case, x1 and x2 are what? These are the number of annual insertions. एक साल में कितनी बार ये मैसेज आ रहा है? How many times these messages are being advertised in 1 year, right? For media A and for media B respectively. I hope this question is clear. So after this we will start with the next question, which is illustration number 38, but we will do that in the next class. I really hope this video has been an insightful and helpful one for you. If you really find this video interesting, then don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, The Witty Turtle, and also don't forget to share this video with your CA, CMA, inter and final friends so that everybody can be benefited by this.